in Azure SQL database environment, just like our regular on-premise environment has query optimizer, our Azure SQL database environment has something called ARM, Azure Resource Manager, the brain component of our Azure Logical SQL Server. Remember friends, we are talking about logical server, right? Previous classes we learned the 3 different implementations of Azure, or 3 different implementations of SQL Server in Azure. Come on, do you remember what are they? 3 different implementations of SQL Server in Azure. Please, come on, do you remember?
Logical server.
Yes, exactly. Logical server and
The Azure SQL Server.
yeah, exactly, brother. Yeah, correct. Azure SQL Server is logical server only. Other one, VM, right? Virtual machine.
Manage instance.
Third one is the managed instance, right? You remember that now, everyone. 3 different options, right? We are talking about the automated tuning capability today about Azure SQL database, logical server, also called serverless activity. We call it a serverless deployment. Remember friends, earlier class I was showing you the term serverless when we are talking about Azure SQL search in the all resource in Azure portal, Azure SQL, you got something called serverless. You remember that technically?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Don't have an access of any services and anything.
Exactly. Serverless means here what? Windowsless. I simply say operating system less. Right? So no access to the service, no access to your drive. Right? So observe carefully, please. No access to the service, no control on the service, SQL Server service, and no access to your physical drive path. For example, you are configuring the database. While configuring database, we don't bother about location of data file, location of log file, or size of the file, or any other properties of the file. We cannot. It is logical. That is what PaaS, platform as a service, mean. We don't have any control on the service. There comes the concept of, we are talking about the 34th chapter right now in the curriculum, tuning. For understanding tuning, we are taking the base activity right now, ARM, Azure Resource Manager. You remember the previous class we learned how to test on-premise to Azure migration. You remember that? We tested like select star from table name from SSMS.
Yes.
Yes, that select statement is automatically graded into read light or read medium or read heavy. Now the question arises, who is grading this? Undoubtedly ARM. In communication with an internal component that we are going to discuss in another 5-10 minutes called Azure built-in intelligence component. And now next question, on what basis? So there are 2 different brains now. ARM, Azure Resource Manager. Hope you are writing your observation notes, please. Azure Resource Manager, and second one, built-in intelligence, that we are going to touch base in next 5 to max 10 minutes, called built-in intelligence component. So ARM component, the brain, and the built-in intelligence, the actual mind power for Azure, together are going to grade the select statements. Now, on what basis this grading occurs? Yes, we are talking about these concepts mainly from tuning perspective. We need them. One person say, my select is fast, happy. Other person will say my select is slow. The person, ironically, the person who is saying slow may be running a small query or maybe looking for small table, small data, still slow. And the other person who is saying my select is fine is actually involved in a big data. If it is opposite, it's okay. Say big data, slow, it's okay. But here the opposite. As an Azure DBA, what we arrive at then? One client says, my data is big, but I'm enjoying it, it's fine. Other person will say, my data is very slow, but still very too much time being invested to wait for my report data. And ironically, both tables are on the same database, same Azure SQL server. Then where lies the main problem? The reason for me taking this reference, remember, tuning is automated in Azure. Tuning is automated in Azure. Remember, it's automated. And beyond that, the recommendations for new indexes are also automated. Right? You remember, if it is on-premise environment, what we do to get the recommendations? Do you remember that, please? Yes, we are aware of on-premise, right? What we do?
Yep. We can run a profiler, or we can run a DBA
exactly.
database
Run the
to find out.
profiler. Yes, let me go back to our course now. Exactly, you're right. We run the profiler, get the workload, and again publish the workload to DTA tool, get the recommendations. You remember that? On-premise, non-cloud.
Yes, sir.
Others, are we getting it, please? Profiler, trace, DTA tool, recommendations, right? Others, hope you are following it, right? Earlier, older classes. Others, please, hope you remember. Banu Prakash, yes, Deepthi, Ganesh, others. Please, do you hear me, everyone? Please check it. Check your mic, please.
Yes, sir.
Fine, Ganesh. Banu Prakash, are you there? Banu Prakash, please check your mic. Yeah, Deepthi, Banu Prakash, please check it. Check your mics, please.
Yes, sir.
Fine, sister. Fine. Banu Prakash cannot hear you, brother. Please check your mic, please. Please check your mic. Yes. So we have profiler tool. Yeah, Banu Prakash, I could see your chat message anyway. No worries. Let's continue. Fine. No worries. Where we are? We have profiler tool. From there we go to DTA tool, and we also need to work with something called query costs, NUMA nodes, right? In on-premise, non-cloud environment. But now in cloud environment, everything automated. No DTA tool, no profiler tool, everything automated. My customer says, small data, more time, big data, less time. What is this? Yes, there comes the factor transaction types. Let's enjoy what exactly transaction types are and what makes this problem from occurring, what makes this problem, and what is the solution. Let's see. What's the problem statement now? Small data, more time. Huge data, less time. Same server, same database, same user. Are we getting it now, everyone? Please. Are we following the class now? Please, everyone, please. Yes?
Yes, sir.
I'll wait.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay, so these are the things we need to, work with, right? Because we say everything automated. What we do as a DBA then? Here it comes. Yes. Now, before we step into solution in next 2 minutes, 1.5 to 2 minutes, let's understand what basis this grading occurs. I said once again, ARM component and what else? Built-in intelligence component will together decide the type of transaction. You run the select statement, 2 selects, 2 tables, and the grading is important. Now, before we step into the solution for this kind of performance problem, mixed performance problems, grading is important. Yes, let's go there carefully. Hope you are writing your running notes, everyone, please. Hope you are writing your running notes. Everyone, please. I'll wait.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, we need it. We need it. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So here we go.